She does a fantastic amount, and I think that's where we've got to give her a lot of credit. Now, the Princess of Wales doesn't. She has to squeeze that sort of thing, a very, very busy schedule as a working woman and as a wife and mother.
She was the most photographed woman in the world, yet her deepest battles were often hidden from the public eye. This video unravels the remarkable journey of Princess Diana, from a shy kindergarten assistant to the beloved People's Princess, who forever changed the British monarchy. You'll witness her triumphs, heartbreaks, and the legacy she left behind that still reverberates around the globe. Watch until the end to discover the shocking truths behind her royal life and the enduring impact she had on fashion, charity, and public perception. This isn't just a story. It's a revelation of grace, tragedy, and transformation. Born on July 1st, 1961, in the quiet village of Sandringham, England, Diana Frances Spencer entered the world of aristocratic privilege and high expectations. She was the fourth of 5 children, born to Viscount Edward John Spencer and Frances Ruth Burke Roke, later known as Frances Shand Kidd. Diana's upbringing was both prestigious and turbulent. She had 2 older sisters, Jane and Sarah, and a younger brother, Charles, who would one day become the 9th Earl Spencer. A brother named John died shortly after birth, a loss which deeply affected the family. Royal connections ran in Diana's bloodline. Her grandmothers served as ladies-in-waiting to Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother. However, Diana's early years were shadowed by the bitter separation of her parents. Their marriage, already strained by pressures to produce a male heir, unraveled not long after Charles' birth. According to author Andrew Morton, Diana's younger brother believed this tension was a major cause of their eventual divorce. Diana and her siblings were placed in the custody of their father, who would later marry Rain, Countess of Dartmouth, a stepmother Diana reportedly despised. Reflecting on her upbringing, Diana once confessed it had been marked by sadness and emotional instability. Diana's education began at home, then continued at Riddlesworth Hall and West Heath School. Though shy by nature, she revealed a passion for dance and music. In 1975, when her father inherited the title of Earl Spencer, she was officially styled as Lady Diana. She had an enduring love for children, which led her to pursue work in early childhood education. After finishing school in Switzerland at Institut Alpin de Damanet, Diana moved to London and took a job as an assistant at the Young England Kindergarten, an ordinary start that gave no hint of the royal destiny ahead. Diana first met Prince Charles in 1977, while he was dating her older sister Sarah. At that time, she was a teenager and he was in his late 20s. Their paths crossed again in 1980 at a summer gathering, where Charles began to see her as more than just his friend's younger sister. Despite their age gap and contrasting personalities, he a quiet horticulturalist, she a bashful fashion enthusiast, the public became obsessed with their budding relationship. During a visit to Balmoral Castle, Diana was introduced to the royal family and reportedly received a warm welcome from Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. Barely months into their courtship, Charles proposed at Windsor Castle on February 3, 1981. Diana was so taken aback, she initially thought he was joking. The engagement was made official 3 days later when Charles gave her a dazzling 18-carat white gold ring set with a 12-carat Ceylon sapphire, surrounded by 14 diamonds, crafted by Gerard, the crown jeweler, The ring echoed the design of a historic brooch made for Queen Victoria by Prince Albert in 1840. Its original price tag? A princely sum of £28,000, roughly $35,000. In their first joint television interview, a reporter asked if they were in love. Diana answered confidently, "Of course." But Charles's reply raised eyebrows, quote, "Whatever in love means." The world took note, and the remark became an early sign that their fairy tale might not be as perfect as it seemed. On July 29, 1981, Lady Diana Spencer transformed into Her Royal Highness, the Princess of Wales, in a ceremony watched by millions. Held at St. Paul's Cathedral with 2,650 guests in attendance, the wedding was a global spectacle. Diana arrived in a fairy tale gown of ivory silk taffeta and antique lace, embellished with over 10,000 pearls, and designed by David and Elizabeth Emanuel. She wore her family's heirloom tiara and a staggering 25-foot-long veil, which proved a challenge to manage in the royal carriage. Broadcast across 74 nations, the wedding captivated close to 1 billion viewers. Diana made headlines once again by omitting the word obey from her vows, an unexpected decision that sparked both admiration and controversy. Despite the lavish ceremony and global acclaim, Diana soon found herself overwhelmed by the weight of royal life and relentless media scrutiny. Isolated and under pressure, she began to forge her own path, becoming a powerful advocate for causes close to her heart. From helping the homeless and children in need to standing behind those affected by HIV and AIDS, Diana redefined what it meant to be a royal, with compassion, courage, and a fierce sense of independence. Princess Diana and Prince Charles welcomed 2 sons into the world. Prince William, born June 21, 1982, and Prince Harry, born September 15, 1984. But behind the palace walls, Diana's early journey into motherhood was far from idyllic. In a moment of emotional crisis during her first pregnancy, Diana threw herself down a staircase at Sandringham. Overwhelmed by feelings of loneliness and unworthiness, miraculously, the unborn William was unharmed. After his birth, Diana struggled with postpartum depression and felt smothered by the constant glare of the press. Determined to raise her son differently, Diana broke with centuries of royal tradition by taking baby William on a 6-week royal tour of Australia and New Zealand in 1983. Critics were skeptical, but the public adored the image of a young, hands-on mother. Diana had redefined royal motherhood: warm, visible, and deeply connected. Diana later said that her relationship with Charles was at its best during her pregnancy with Harry. Yet even during this brief phase of closeness, cracks in their marriage remained. Diana learned she was carrying another boy, but chose not to tell Charles, fearing the news could ruin their fragile peace. When Harry was born, Charles's response, "Oh God, it's a boy," devastated her. In that moment, Diana later admitted she knew the marriage was irreparably broken. Over time, the strain between Diana and Charles became impossible to hide. Both battled their own demons, Diana with depression and bulimia, Charles with a rekindled love for his former flame, Camilla Parker Bowles. Rumors of affairs swirled, and the media dubbed the increasingly distant pair the Glums. Diana herself was linked to James Hewitt, a military officer, in a relationship that reportedly spanned several years. The formal announcement of their separation came in December of 1992, delivered to Parliament by Prime Minister John Major. Then, in a 1995 BBC interview that shook the monarchy, Diana openly questioned Charles's suitability to be king and famously declared, quote, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." This candid confession marked the turning point. Queen Elizabeth II intervened, urging them to finalize their divorce. By August of 1996, Diana and Charles were officially divorced. Diana kept her Kensington Palace apartment and limited access to royal transport, but she lost the right to be called Her Royal Highness, a title Charles insisted be removed. She now had to curtsy to her former husband and even her sons. Though still recognized as Princess of Wales, she relinquished any claim to the throne. Her life was no longer royal, but she was far from irrelevant. Freed from the constraints of royal life, Diana threw herself into humanitarian work and her role as a devoted mother. She became an outspoken advocate for numerous causes, including AIDS awareness and the global campaign against landmines. Though she remained a subject of public fascination, she rejected the constant security, accepting protection only when her children were involved. Diana's personal life also drew attention. She was romantically linked to heart surgeon Hasnat Khan, whom she reportedly loved deeply, and later to Egyptian film producer Dodi Fayed. Their relationship caused ripples within royal circles and even raised political concerns, particularly among British leadership. In the early hours of August 31, 1997, Diana and Dodi's lives were cut short in a horrific car crash in Paris. Fleeing paparazzi, their driver, who was later found to be intoxicated, lost control of the vehicle. Fayed and the driver were killed instantly. Diana, gravely injured, died in hospital hours later. She was just 36. The world stopped. Grief poured from every corner of the globe. Criticism mounted against the monarchy for its slow response. Finally, Queen Elizabeth addressed the nation, paying tribute to Diana as a woman remembered not just for who she was, but for the way she touched millions. A government inquiry released in 1999 concluded that reckless driving and intoxication were the primary causes of the crash. Initial speculation that paparazzi were responsible faded after charges against several photographers were dropped. Still, conspiracy theories endured, fueled by the circumstances of Diana's death and her unique status as a cultural icon. On September 6, 1997, Diana's coffin made its way from Kensington Palace in a solemn procession watched by tens of thousands on the street and over 2 billion viewers around the world. Her sons, William and Harry, then just 15 and 12, walked behind their mother in a heartbreaking final stretch. The funeral at Westminster Abbey was deeply moving. Diana's brother, Charles Spencer, delivered a blistering yet emotional eulogy. Elton John, a close friend, performed a reimagined version of Candle in the Wind, written in Diana's honor. She was laid to rest on a secluded island at the Spencer family estate in Althorpe. After her passing, the Diana, Princess of Wales Memorial Fund was established to champion causes she cared about: palliative care, refugee rights, criminal justice reform, and more. Though the fund has since ceased active fundraising, its mission lives on through her son's charitable foundations. In 2007, On what would have been her 46th birthday, William and Harry hosted a memorial concert in her honor, continuing the legacy of love, compassion, and courage she embodied. Both sons have paid tribute to their mother in deeply personal ways. William and his wife Catherine named their daughter Princess Charlotte Elizabeth Diana. Harry and Meghan followed suit with their daughter, Princess Lilibet Diana. In name and spirit, Diana's memory continues to shine brightly through the lives of her children and grandchildren.